Hello there, welcome back to the Ogre, the old Git Reacts, Reviews and Off Times Reminisces. Today we're doing Funeral Mist, a band for whom most of you will need no introduction. Not listened to Funeral Mist for quite some time. I've got the first three albums on CD. Didn't bother with Hecatomb for a number of reasons. And then over the Christmas period, when had more time to mess about cruising on the internet, I noticed a new album had dropped, which I listened to or flicked through and thought, I'll have this one. The main reasons I don't listen to I haven't listened to Funeral Mist is because they are on CD and all my CDs are up in the attic nowadays, and I'm too lazy to get them out and find something to listen to them on. The only thing really I've got to listen to CDs on nowadays is the computer. Well, if I'm going to do that, I may as well just find them online and listen to them that way. And the other thing is, some bands, for me, I don't need every album of theirs, which is why I haven't got, the principal reason I haven't got Hecatomb is because I don't need another Funeral Mist album. It's the same for me with Revenge, who I highly rate, but I will never buy all their albums because for me there's no point. Obviously, if you're a rabid fan, you probably think differently to that. So although Funeral Mist, each album is subtly different, it's really not until now I've decided I will buy another one, which I have. The last track on the album, Into Ashes, I've not listened to, so this is a reaction technically, insofar as I've not heard it. However, I'll be surprised if I'm surprised by what I hear. So let's have a listen and see where we go. It's like the start of a Paysage Diva album, but or track. I don't suppose it will remain that way though. I didn't really want to stop that. I was enjoying it too much. However, I'd have to stop these things and talk about them. But if I don't, you may as well just listen to the whole thing on its own, on its Bandcamp page or wherever. So you're here for, I presume you're here to hear me waffle about it. Anyway, this track is so far a little bit different from the preceding ones on the album, insofar as some of the other tracks have got a hall of mirrors sound to the guitar, where because of the stabbing riffs that are employed, tend to just alter your perception slightly. The pirouette around or stab around, whereas this so far is a far more straightforward guitar tone. And one thing I love about this album is the drums. My favourite sort of drumming is this sort of drumming where it's a thump rather than a crash, or some of the snare heavy, sharper snare sound. Flat. I'm no technician, or I'm no musician, so technical terms escape me. But some snare sounds are much sharper. This is a dull thump, and for some reason that's a sort of sound I like in my drums. And as usual, as you expect from this fellow, his demented preacher vocalization, proselytizing from the devil's pulpit, I suppose. It's funny how something so devastating can be so hypnotising. I suppose it's a bit like if you're in the American Midwest and you see a Category 5 tornado coming towards you, you know you're going to get absolutely ripped to shreds, but you just stand and watch it nonetheless. I know that's strictly speaking, that analogy doesn't work because people run like fuck, but you can imagine being in awe of something that's about to swallow you up and spit you out in a million different pieces. This track is a little bit more atmospheric than the other one. Let's say the stabbing guitar of other tracks hasn't appeared here, but instead there is the more insidious melodies that find another way into your ears and grab your attention, rather than that more direct confrontational stabbing riff that comes elsewhere. These drums are great. I might mention this one or two times and you'll tell me to shut up, you boring git, but those drums are about to take off any minute and go into orbit. They fantastic. during the layering of the guitars here, the layering of melodies. Such as here, really. Bordering on perfection here. I'm at the end to explain why I think this is so awesome. Yes, sometimes I ought to just walk away from the mouse, because anyway. Yes, why was it awesome then, Mac? Wow. I mean, some songs move you, and not just in getting your toe tapping and your head banging, but actually affect you emotionally. And for some weird reason, that last track was getting its hooks in good and proper. It's a weird sort of thing to express it as, but it was virtually joyous for me to listen to that. And that's what the best music does, doesn't it? It grabs you and stirs the emotions in whichever way your emotions are stirred. Nowadays, you need a big spoon and plenty of brute force to stir my emotions, because they're sort of like tar nowadays. Anyway, that was absolutely superb. No other way of putting it. If I wanted to be an absolute sort of twat about it, I might say that I would prefer the pace to have remained relentless right to the very end, but that would just be twattish, as I say, because 8 minutes of absolute carnage, followed by just a minute of settling things down and sort of bringing the whole album and the track to a close. There was no complaint. It's just me wanting my cake and eating it too much, I guess. The other thing about Funeral Mist is they demonstrate that devastating music doesn't need to be particularly heavy. And in that sense, I mean, yeah, the drums were a blast from start to finish, and that the bass rumbled along in seismic fashion. But the guitars aren't what you describe as heavy. They are more incisive than that. You're not talking sledgehammers here. You're talking scalpels, really. But they're as equally effective as the heaviest music. In fact, probably more so, because you can carry the speed more effectively, and you don't need perhaps the breakdowns that heavier music seems to insist upon very often. Fantastic. I shall listen to that again and again and again, I imagine, but you don't want to listen to me or watch me listening to that again, I'm sure, although you probably all want to listen to it yourself, by yourself. So anyway, enough of that. Clicky bollocks if you wish, and see you all next time for some more fruity music. Cheerio.